What's up, guys? This is Justin, the Board Game Roamer, and today we are going to begin our playthrough of Dungeon Crusade. Doing this in conjunction with a Kickstarter campaign, and I wanted to do a video of setup just to go through that process and the details of that, and then we'll get into the playthrough. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the scenario that we're going to do right out of the scenario book, and then we're going to walk through the steps in here one step at a time so I can show you how this is done. Now, I've got some stuff laid out here. We'll go over all of that and the details of that. I just had it already out here where I was working on the other video, but we're going to go over step by step what all this entails and get you up to speed on that. So, first thing that you need to do, you got to pick a scenario, okay? So we are going to play the very first scenario, Into the Depths. Now, when we pick the scenario, that's going to determine a couple different things. Number one, that's going to determine the dungeon that we use. And in this case, we're using the Ancient Ruins. Wow, that's some glare. We use the Ancient Ruins. It's also going to determine our quest tables, and we'll look at all that in a second. The second thing that we've got to do is we've got to determine what level we want to play on. So you can see, I'll zoom in on one of these. So you got Novice, Easy, Normal, Hard, Expert, and Master. So I'm going to say for the playthrough, we're going to go on Easy across the board. Just so it's a little bit easier than normal, right, by one step. But what that's going to do is that's going to mean like the minions and the guardians and stuff like that, there's going to be a few less. So the playthrough won't be as long because if you watched my other video, you know this is a long game, especially playing with 6 heroes. And in this playthrough that we're going to do, we're going to show off the classic combat. We're going to show off the revised combat. We're going to show off the blitz movement. So there's some things that speed it up, but especially with 6 heroes, it's going to take a hot minute to do. So, you know, just to kind of cut that down a little bit and get it done as quickly as I can, because this is obviously not my full-time job. If you didn't know that, surely you know that by now. We're going to do it that way. So we're taking that scenario, that quest. All right, so first things first. We're going to go ahead and assemble 2 boards. We're going to take and we're going to create the dungeon, which I've got out here. And I went ahead and put doors everywhere, and I've laid some tokens out here, so disregard those tokens. And I've already put our heroes on the siege tile where they're going to start the game. But I went ahead and put the doors out here. We'll modify that a little bit. That's one of the steps, and I've already pre-done that. And I've kind of laid some stuff out, but we'll go back through it, right, so that it makes sense. So that's what we're going to do. So first thing, we get the dungeon. Each dungeon is a 2x3 grid, and each one of the boards is going to have 4 quadrants. The boards are not numbered, okay? There is a picture right in the back of the rule book that will show you each of them. So like this is the Ancient Ruins, and you will see also some dots on the board. Yellow dots, red dots, purple dots. These are where your mining sites, your traps, if you're playing traps, doors, treasure chest, all that goes. So you're going to assemble the board, and then when we go to the seed part, this is going to help us find like all of the treasure locations, all of the mining locations, like that. Cool. Okay, so let's just dig into this. And again, I'm actually going to walk through this. The easiest way to do this is to just go through the setup, right? Because there's several steps. So you want to go to this page in the rule book. Now there will be, the new rule book may have some different page numbers, but this is the current rule book. So first thing you do is you're going to choose 6 heroes. And when you pick the heroes, you're also going to choose and always have with you Albus, right? So we'll talk about him in a minute. But you're going to grab all the heroes right? So we're going to be playing with Jorah Oakenheart, the Priest. Now, some of these may be expansion ones, right? Because I have all of the stuff. But you just pick 6 if you're not playing solo. If you're playing solo, you just start out with a 1. We're going to play with Palanganamor, our rogue. And probably for the most part in the playthrough, just FYI, I will be referring to them as their class instead of their name. The important part here's our knight. Show you all these right quick. And there is Maheliak, our barbarian. All right. And our ranger, Cain, a red feather. Over. And finally, Zeke Utar, our wizard. Now, a couple things you need to know. Number 1, you can see right down here. Well, you can kind of see right down there. See that circle, the top and the bottom? Those are their maxes. And then up here is their level. So you're going to start out with level 1 for everybody. Eventually, they can go to level 3. The game comes with some white sliders that actually go on these physical boards. So all the characters will have another card that's got their level 2 and then level 3 on the back side. All right. These holders are from Etsy. So the black holders with the sliders. You can use whatever counter you want. That's what comes with the game is those little white sliders that literally slide across the paper. All right, so that's your first step. Each hero is going to have listed in the bottom corner his starting weapon. All right, so you'll find that starting weapon for everybody. The backs are going to look like all the other loot cards. So I keep those separate. Right when we play, and I don't even put those in the deck. So we find the starting weapon, and it's going to be a tier 1 weapon, and basically they're all going to have like a weapon of their primary type. It's going to be +0, right? But like the mage has arcane, like an oaken staff, and the ranger has a bow, etc., etc. You're going to put those out here with their hero cards. So that's going to be their starting weapons. Then you're going to find the special ability card. So, and you're going to take, each hero has special ability cards, right? So let's just take the Ranger, for example. I've already put those up, so let me grab the other one. All right, so you're going to have a stack of cards power cards for each hero, or skills. You're going to have one card that says counterattack. You're going to set that to the side for now. And you're going to have 3 abilities. So in this case, Cain has Shadow Stalker, the levels in the top right, 1, 2, and 3. He's got one called Hidden Dagger, 1, 2, and 3. And then Spiritual Endurance, 1, 2, and 3. So what you would do is you would take all the level 1s. All right. Set the others aside for a second. So when you're doing setup for each hero, you're only going to use 2 out of the 3. You're going to randomly remove one of these. All right. So the way that I usually do it is I just take a D6, or the game comes with a D3, and I just go say, 1, 2, 3. Whichever number I roll gets removed. So Hidden Dagger is removed from play. So these are the 2 powers that will be available to Cain. So I'm going to take those 2 powers. I'm going to take the level 2 and 3 version of those 2 powers. Going to add those over here. So I've got those. All right. So there his powers with his all 3 of each power, level 1, 2, and 3. And these are going to go to the academy, right, on the board. We're going to do that for all of our heroes. So I've already done that for all of our heroes. All right. And then all of our heroes ultimately, and this is a little bit out of sequence, but ultimately they all have a card called Counterattack. and the card is always, it's all the same. So counterattack can't be used in a chamber. It can be used in a dungeon, and this means it doesn't have to be channeled when you use it. This will tell you how to use it. We do the playthrough, it'll make more sense. But just know that this goes with every hero. I usually just set one to the side because they're literally all the same, just to save room, because this is a bit of a table hog. So these three that we are getting rid of, we just put those back in the game box. We do not have to worry about those. So we do that for all of our heroes, and we're going to set those over into the academy, which you can't see, but that is where they go. And these are going to be what the heroes can potentially train as they go through and level up and get their stuff. Okay. Yep. Now, the next step, it would be starting gold. So if you have not played the Avalon Adventure board game prior to this, right, and I would suggest that you do that first, because that is going to be the best way to start. It's going to give you some money. Potentially, it's going to give you some weapons and items, items potentially. Maybe even a couple special potions. If you play through that, what you have in there is going to carry through. Otherwise, you're going to basically choose one of these three options, get 100 gold, do D3 times 100, 0 gold. So you can roll for these, right? However you want to do that. But like I said, I would say play the Avalon Adventure board game, because it's a ton of fun, and it's a much better way to get started, and gives you a chance to kind of know your characters. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to select the scenario. We've already done that. So just keep in mind that Castle Blackwood and the Cavern of Lost Souls are add-ons. So if you don't get the add-ons, there's some scenarios in the book that you're not going to be able to play. So Ancient Ruins, and let's see, Ancient Ruins, and what's the other one called? Hold on a second. Oh, the Tomb of Kaladar. These two come with the base game. So if you don't have the other ones as add-ons, these are going to be the scenarios you can pick. So about half the scenarios you wouldn't be able to use if you don't have those add-on dungeons. Okay, so we're going to pick the dungeon. All right, we already know this scenario, and we've set up the board. Now I went ahead and set up all the doors on all of the chambers. Okay, so the chambers are you have the dungeon and you have the chambers. So as an example here, all of the chambers have a name. So this says, for example, I'll move this out of the way so you can see Heroes Vigil. Right, there's the Chapel of Light South. Ruins of Hamvir, and they all have an opening. So I always just go ahead and put all the doors out. And we're going to change the bases on the doors, right, potentially later on, but get them all out there, and that's where they're going to hang out. And then we're going to put our heroes. We're going to put the heroes over here on the siege tile. Now, it's kind of hard to see with the camera, but there's a little white dotted line, right? And it's different on each map where the siege tile, the entrance is. But you're going to put all your heroes in that area to start out with. Let me take Albus off. Put them in there on that siege tile. So that's where you're going to start. And it's going to say the siege, right? You can't really see it, but that says the siege up there. So that's going to be where our heroes start. And then once we place them however we want in those 6 squares, then we have Albus, or we have our fetch hound. You just put him adjacent to any one of the heroes out there. So we could put him here, we could put him here, wherever we want to put him out there, so he's with the party. So we have all of our standees for our heroes. We've got Albus out. We're good there. Normally this is where we would place the door chambers, all right, or the doors on the chambers. So you can see we've kind of already done that. And you'll notice that there are different styles of doors, right? So There's that style of door. There's like a rounded style of door. There's even like a kind of like a stone slab style of door. There's no, like, you can use them however you want. They don't have any significance. So like maybe like you could take potentially maybe pick a quest table and say, you know, the first quest table is going to use this style, the second one's going to use another style, the third one's going to use another style. I've tried that. I don't think, depending on the quest combinations, that you always have enough doors of the same type to match the tables, but that is an option. I have another way that I'm going to show you how I do that, but rules is written. You're going to put those out there. Then we're going to take the treasure tokens. So you have these tokens right here. So these are the treasure tokens. These are, you can refer to these as master tokens because you're going to have some tokens like mystery chambers are an example. Secret rooms are an example. Crates are an example. And these are going to be tokens that on their own don't do anything, but they're going to be tied to either a deck of cards or other tokens that you're going to draw. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these tokens, all right, and you're going to look on the board and you're going to find the treasure spot. So let me show you what one of those looks like. So this little treasure chest right here, that's an example. So every board has 10 of those. So we're just going to take, every dungeon has 10 of those. So we're going to take one of these tokens and we're simply going to place it on that spot. So as we traverse the dungeon, when we come across this location, then that's going to say, hey, there's a treasure chest there. We're going to draw a treasure chest card and find out what's in there. Now, like I said, we're going to look for that all over this dungeon. Now, if you're looking through, like, you can go through and look for the icons. So I see another icon here. I see an icon up here. I always try to turn these where they're going with the chamber. And I just kind of, what I do is I just kind of scan through each set of quadrants, looking for those icons. And then if I'm missing one, then I'll go back and find it. But generally, if you take it, you know, one quadrant at a time, and you take your time, most of the time you get them on the first pass. There's usually two or so in every kind of row or close to it. So that kind of gives me an idea if I see an area where maybe there's not one, it kind of clues me in, maybe I missed it. If we finish this, so up there, see any there, got one here, I've got two left, there's one down here in the corner, and there should be one more. Where's the other one at? Sometimes, there it is. So sometimes it may be hidden by these doors. All right, so you just have to look at that. If you just cannot find it, remember this rule book does have the page in the back, right? And so you can use this, looking for the blue dots, the yellow dots, the purple dots for those things, mining sites, treasure chests, and traps if you decide to use traps. You can use that as a reference guide if you need to. Okay, so those are 10 treasure tokens. So then we're going to take, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do it with these mining tokens. There's 8 of those tokens. So you're going to put them all together. You're going to shuffle them up. All right? So you know there's no shenaniganery. Shuffle them up. So half of these are basically no sites, and then the other half will be actual sites. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to place these out on the board. So we just look for the mining symbol. I should show you the mining symbol. So here's an example of the mining symbol. So we're just going to take one of these tokens, one of these 8 random that have been randomized, place it on top. And we're going to do that for the entirety of the board. Again, you can refer to the rule book if you start to put these out. And again, I just kind of snake through. If you miss any, that will help you find them. Generally, there's only 8 of these, so it's not as often that I miss them. But sometimes, I certainly won't say that I have not missed them. And there's the last one right there for this particular map. Cool. Dunzo. So there are trap spaces. I'll show you what a trap space is. The trap spaces are these skull icons. There's some tokens for those. We're not going to be using traps, but you would put out the trap tokens in those spaces, and that is just like a layer of difficulty. If you want to add, you can do that once you get familiar with the game. I would probably not play with traps the first time that you're playing this, though, because those traps can be absolutely brutal. Then we're going to draw tavern tasks. So there's a deck of cards that have this back. It says tavern task. We shuffle them up. We draw one of those. This is the one that we drew. You can see here, it's called Orcs Must Die. It's got some story on it. Think of this as almost like, it's not really a side quest, but it's something that you can complete at some point in time during the game. It's going to give you money. It's going to give you potentially life force, which is essentially experience, gear, that sort of thing. So we're going to draw one of these, and this is going to be our task that we're going to do. In this case, each orc minion that we slay, we place a token on this card, and we're trying to slay 4 orc minions with this particular card. So I'm just going to set that over here to the side, close to the UI board where I'm going to put our minions and all that stuff later. Place the power gem recipe. So now we're going to talk about some of the decks of cards. So what I do for some of the cards is I have these card holders. So I actually use this. Now I believe in this Kickstarter, you're going to have the option to get a whole 3D printed system that's going to have all the cards, a place for all the cards, all the tokens, all that sort of stuff. It's going to help you organize it. It's going to help you with setup. So I'm super excited about that. But you're going to set these mining cards. Right. So one side is the gems. Well, set that over there. One side is the gems, right? And the other side is the recipes. You get to choose these, all right? So you don't have to like shuffle these up or anything like that. You're just going to set these off to the side. So I'm going to set those right there for now. And then we have our cards. So we have our minions, champions, guardians. So there's a deck, level 1s, level 2s, level 3s for minions and champions. And then the same thing for guardians, but it goes up to 4. So you're going to separate these into level 1s, level 2s, level 3s. You're going to shuffle each deck independently. All right, so you're going to ultimately end up with this deck of level 1s, and then you're going to shuffle up a deck of level 2s, right? And then a deck of level 3s. You do that for the minions. You're going to do that for the champions. You're going to do that for the guardians. And just set those to the side. The minions are going to be what's roaming the dungeon. The champions, again, level 1s. Then a stack for level 2s. Level 3s and level 4s. These champions are going to be what's inside of the chambers. So you're just going to shuffle those up to have those ready. And you're going to do the same thing for the guardians. These cards are a little bit bigger. All right. So you're just going to, I just keep them all in one stack just to save space. All right. So we got that done. Cool. Now, it is important to note on the Guardians, okay? So the Guardians are a little bit different. So you're going to have the level 1s shuffled together, the level 2s shuffled together, all right? And then, unlike the other decks, you're actually going to mix the level 3s and 4s into a third deck, all right? So when you get to the last quest table, you can either get a level 3 or level 4 version of those guys, all right? The other ones, you're going to split them. Level 1s, level 2s, level 3s, level 4s, all those are going to be separate. Okay. So we have a number of different decks. You would have a trap deck. If we're using traps, we don't. You're going to place the secret room deck. So again, it's just a deck of cards. Give them a shuffle. So this is going to be if you find and access a secret room. It's going to say what you find in that room. Set those to the side. I'm just going to put those over there. We have secret rooms. We have the loot deck. Power gem. Yeah, we already did that. The loot deck. So the loot deck is ginormous. It's 193 unique pieces of loot. All different types, all different rarities. Give that bad boy a shuffle. Okay. And just set it to the side for now. We'll actually come back to that in a minute, because when we start to populate something else, we'll actually be going back into this. I just keep them in a little doodad right there. Shuffle the blessings. So when we go over here to our dungeon UI board. All right, so we set up our main board. We set this board up, obviously, without all the stuff on it. We're going to take our blessing deck. We're going to shuffle our blessing deck up. And we're going to set it out here. Earlier step, remember when we got all of the powers for all of our heroes? All of those cards are just going to hang out here at the Academy. These, don't disregard these for now. Just take those off. All right, so we're going to set those up later. I'm going to go ahead and flip these. All right, so that takes care of those. We're going to shuffle the blessing deck, the celebration card deck, the secret room deck, and the treasure deck. So, blessing deck, secret room cards, we've already done that. We have a celebration day deck. So we're going to give that a shuffle. And there is a spot on the UI board for that. There's a spot for the treasure chest. I'm going to set these encounter cards off to the side for now. There's a spot for the treasure chest. All right, we're going to, again, give those a nice little shuffle. Those are going to lay there. So, the mining deck. So, in the mining deck, and I'm just going to take all these out. We're going to have to arrange this deck. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take all the mining cards. This is their back. There are going to be 8 cards that say this mining site is exhausted. They have the same back. So you're going to take those 8 cards, separate them out, create 4 equal stacks of the mining cards, and then you're going to put 2 of each of these, mining is exhausted cards into each deck. All right, and then you're going to give all of those a shuffle. All right, we're going to shuffle these up, then those are going to go out on the UI board. All right, so once we have them shuffled, so here's one of my shuffled decks. You can see we have an A, a B, a C, and a D. These are going to correspond to these tokens in the dungeon. So these are going to be flipped over, and so 4 of those are going to have one of the letters on it, and the other 4 are going to say this is not a mining site. So we don't know where on the dungeon they are, but we're going to get these mining decks ready so that when we do find them, that's an option. So we're just going to place those decks out like so. And there's your mining decks ready to go. All right, the next step is the encounter card. So this is sort of like the timer deck for the dungeon. All right, there's a stack of cards, encounter cards. You're going to separate out all of the cards that say interlude. They're all the same. All right, these are basically just a way to throttle the deck. There's 10 of these. But the remaining cards, you're going to gather 30. So we're going to have a deck of 30. So here's our deck of 30. And we're going to take these interlude cards. We're going to shuffle those in with the 30 cards that we have. And that's going to be a 40 card total encounter deck. And so this is every round, right, that we go, we're going to have one of these at the beginning. So we're going to shuffle these in, and then we're going to put these out on the UI board. Again, 30 random plus the 10 interlude that are always going to be in there. All right, so once they're shuffled, we're going to take those, we're going to put them over here on this UI board. And like I said, these are going to be drawn at the beginning of every round. Okay. What you do want to make sure with these cards is you're always going to start. You're going to set out. You had 10 interlude cards. You're going to set one to the side, shuffle the other 9 in, and you're going to put that 10th interlude card on top. So you're always going to start out with an interlude card on top. So you're going to get one round of a freebie round, essentially. So make sure you do that. Then we're going to set up our part of our quest tables. All right, so we're going to place 4 tokens actually, on each quest table. So we have a main quest, we have a side quest. We have a side quest, if it'll focus. A side quest. We have a Kill the Guardians quest. And then we have this Elder Glow token that has 2 sides, a green and a red side. We're going to go red side first. Now, these represent, we're going to do that for all 3 quest tables, as you can see here. These represent the quests that we have, the level 1, level 2, level 3 quests. And as we complete these cards, which we'll talk about in a minute, we'll flip these over. So the opposite of all 3 of those tokens, there's a book that says cleared. And then once we clear all 3 of these books, then we flip this token to green to signify that we've done that. And then that basically starts the countdown for us to get out of the dungeon. So once we've got those set up, that's the basic setup. And then we're going to move into the advanced setup. The advanced setup is where we're going to do 2 things. We're going to populate the dungeon with our main quests, and then we're going to seed all the remaining chambers to fill them in with some stuff. The way that we do that is we're going to find the main quest cards, the side quest cards, all right? And then we're going to do seeding. So, again, when we look at our scenario, in our scenario book, we're doing the depths, right into the depths. So you'll see here the quest tables, and it's going to say the Sword of St. Victus for quest table level 1, Acolytes of the Faith. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not quest 1. I don't think that's right. The Baron's Wine, Chambers of the Corrupt, A Mother's Request, The Evil Beneath, Tools of the Trade, and Crusaders of the Light. And then, of course, all 3 have the Kill the Guardians quest. So we're going to find all 3 of those, all of those cards. The Kill the Guardians quest don't have a card. It's just going to be a number that we'll determine later. But the main quest and side quest will have a card. So we're going to take those cards. So I have all those cards here. So we have the Baron's Wine, the Chambers of the Corrupt, A Mother's Request, The Evil Beneath, and Tools of the Trade. Right, so I have all those cards. So on the side of each card, you're going to have a whole bunch of lore. And you're also going to know, it's this up here in this corner is going to tell you which dungeon. So I know that this is an Ancient Ruins dungeon, so that matches this board, right? Because if I put out the wrong board or grab the wrong one, then the rooms that it's going to talk about would not exist. It's going to tell you whether it's a main quest, which is that red, or it's a side quest, which is the little blue book. So you have text on the front that's the lore, what's going on, kind of gives you a narrative about what's going on. And then on the back of all of these, you will have the setup, right? The objective. It's going to tell you this is what you need to do it, to complete it. And then the setup is how we're going to populate the chambers. And then this shows you how much money and how much life force did you get when you complete it, which is basically experience that you can spend to level up and learn skills. So we're going to take each one of these and we're going to process each one of these cards. Now, I'm not going to necessarily go over all the cards here, but essentially what generally happens is sometimes you're going to be, like with this card, this actually has items, right? The Baron's Wine has items that are going to be put out here in different places. And then sometimes it's just putting monsters in the dungeon. So we will go through this card, and I'll walk you through this one, and I'll walk you through the Chambers of the Corrupt, because it's pretty straightforward, so that you can see that. The important point that I do want to mention is sometimes the quest will be sort of two parts, because some of these quests actually have to find a key to essentially open up an area. So, for example, and I'm trying to find the one that I know is like that. Yes. The setup on this first one that we're going to do actually has a key, right? It says our objective: the heroes must recover 2 bottles of the Baron Whitmore's wine for Baron. Gosh, I can't speak. Wine for Baron Whitmore that are within the chambers of the ancient depths. They must first journey into the spider lair and locate the onyx key that will unlock the chamber doors within the ancient depths, allowing them to search for the wine. So in this case, we actually have to go up here to the spider lair first, find the key, and then after that, we can travel to the ancient depths, which is somewhere. Where are the ancient depths? No, is that right? Yeah, the ancient depths. So we've traveled to the ancient depths after that, and that's going to, if we don't have that, we can't unlock the doors and do it. So that's the 2 part of it, right? So let's just start with this. So first thing we do, I may take a picture of this and put this on the screen. Now we'll read it. So we're going to place 3 doors with red bases in each chamber of the ancient depths. So that's the first thing. And I'm gonna you can like pause this to read it, take a picture of it. I'm not gonna hold it up here the whole time. So first thing we do is we find the ancient depths. Right here is the ancient depths. It says place 3 doors with red bases. So we have some bases that come with the game. We're gonna take the ancient depths and we're gonna replace those bases with this. Okay. Bing, bang, and boom. All right. That's the first step. Then it says take 3 level 1 champion monsters. So there are a ton of tokens. I have a lot of them out. I keep them all in a bin. Of course, I've got a bunch of them out already, kind of in preparation for this. But it's going to tell you how many tokens that you need of different types. In this case, it says 3 level 1 monster tokens, 1 empty chamber token. So we're going to take 3 level 1 monster tokens. So here's our tokens in the back. Right, all the monster tokens have these swirls, so you don't know what they are, because sometimes you're going to mix and match like level 1s, level 2s, level 3s. You may mix and match levels of monsters, or in this case, we have one empty chamber token, right? And again, it has the same back. So we're going to mix these together, right? So let's mix these together. Don't know which one's which. Place one token in each chamber of the ancient depths. So we have 4 tokens here. We're going to put them in these chambers of the ancient depths. So we don't know, right? We know that there could be, the mix is 3 level 1s in an empty chamber. So when we go to explore here, inside of the chamber, we're not going to know when we go in. Is it the level 1? It could be an empty chamber. Probably is a level 1, but right, that's what you take, the risk you take. So we're going to put that in each one of those. And we're going to set this token to the side without looking at it, okay? Because we don't want to know which one of these we picked or didn't make it into the chamber, I should say. So that's the first part. Place one token within each chamber of the ancient depths. Then take 2 wine bottle tokens. So you're going to have these quest tokens. The quest token back. So I have 2 wine bottles. Bing, bang, boom. And 1 blank quest token. So again, same back, but no item. We're going to shuffle these up together. So I've got all 3 of them. Again, all with the same back. Bing, bang, boom. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle as best you can with 3. Place 1 token within each chamber of the ancient depths. So the Baron's Wine is going to be in here, right? And I usually take and put the monster token on top of it without looking at it. So there we go. That's done. All right, then we go to the next part. Then take 3 level 1 monster tokens and an empty chamber token. So again, and generally, like the level 1s and 2 quests are going to be using level 1 monsters. Maybe level 1s, maybe use some level 2s. 2s are going to be primarily 2s, maybe 3s, and then level 3 could be 3s and 4s. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to take 3 level 1 monster tokens, and we're going to take 1 empty chamber token, it says, and shuffle. And we're going to put 1 up here in the spider lair. So again, shuffle these so we don't know what's what. I know it's hard to do with 4. Just keep going until you don't know what's there. We're going to drop those. Bing, bang, boom. Again, set this to the side. Then take, place 1 token that you finally take the Onyx key token. So there are multiple key tokens. In this case, it's the Onyx key. So we got that. And then 2 blank quest tokens. Shuffle them and place them again in the spider chamber lair. Boom. So again, we'll put them. Now, importantly, you do not reveal these. Okay, we're going to do a step later on where we have an option if we want, depending on how hard we want to make it for ourselves, we can reveal non-quest chambers. But for all of the quest chambers, so anything you're going to be doing with these cards, do not reveal these tokens, okay? And then if we had any tokens, they would be set to the side. And that is the Baron's Wine. So that one's complete. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go through, we did the Baron's Wine. Now we've got our side quest Chamber of the Corrupt, okay? And like I said, in this one, we had some items we had to find. We had a key we had to get to. This one is a little bit different. The heroes need to venture forth into the ancient ruins in an area known as the Tomb of St. Victus, north and south, and slay a group of monsters that have been raiding the village. Clear all chambers within this area of any monster presence. So again, the setup, in this case, we're just going to shuffle 4 level 1s in 1 empty chamber and place them within each chamber of the Tomb of St. Victus, north and south. And I can't stress this enough. One of the things about this game is that Roger has spent a lot of time in the lore and building this world. And all of the cards that are in the Avalon Adventure board game that have things that you interact with, those tell part of the story. All of these cards tell part of the story. The backs of the heroes cards tell their story. So this sets up the narrative. So if you like flavor text, like if you're Quackalope, you're going to be reading every one of these before you do this part. I'm just showing you how to set it up. This is the actual setup component of that, right? So let's follow that. Shuffle 4 level 1s. So we're going to have 4 level 1 tokens over here. If I can get them out of the thing, because sometimes they're a little bit finicky. There we go. Oh, goodness. All right, so 4 level 1s. 4 level 1s. And 1 empty chamber. Bing, bang, boom. All right, and again, we're going to shuffle them up so we don't know what is where. Let's go with that. And then we're going to put them in this Tomb of St. Victus, north and south. So in this case, right, sometimes like all the Spider Lair was together, all the Ancient Depths is together. Sometimes that's not the case, right? So sometimes they're going to be, these rooms are going to be split apart a little bit. So there's the Tomb of St. Victus there. This is the south. This is the north. Again, I have a token left over. I set it to the side so I don't know what it is. I'm not going to go through all of these, right? But that is how you're going to seed the dungeon. So I'm going to boop this. I'm going to go ahead and seed all of the rest of these. So there's 4 more of these. And then I'll just kind of tell you what the objectives are for each of them, just to give you an idea. But now you know how to seed the dungeon. It's pretty simple. It tells you right back here for the quest, how to set those quests up. Then once we're done with setting the quest up, we'll move on to the seeding process, where we're going to generate all the rest of the stuff in the dungeon, and we're going to finish out the board, okay? The UI board in the village. Also, I am going to mention this. So one of the things in playing this that can be kind of difficult to track is which one of these rooms match whatever quest table you're working on. So which one of these are level 1s, which one of these are level 2s. Sometimes they may have something like this where you've got the red door, right? That may kind of give you a clue that says, hey, since it's a different color door, maybe it needs a key. But I find it difficult to remember which ones are what, and I don't want to constantly have to refer back to, these cards to tell me. So what I do is each quest table, if you remember the UI board, it had a green, yellow, and red for the quest table color. So you can get these off Etsy. There's some tokens that will come with your game, and then this reprint that are these color tokens. These color tokens are used for 2 things. Will be used for 2 things. They will be used for, really 1 thing. The main thing they'll be used for is the seeding process. You can use these as counters or whatever if you want to too. But what I do is, like all the level 1 related quest chambers, I go in and I actually put one of these tokens down in each of those areas, because I know me, and I know if I don't do that, then I'm going to be constantly, I don't want to try to remember or have to look back at the card and then step into a chamber that's like, way over my head and get my heroes killed. So I always use that as a visual to tell me, this is the level. So now I know when I'm working on the level 1 quest table, I know that I've got to go like kind of in this area. I can go other places and I can go into other chambers if I want to, but I know for the purposes of the quest, I'm in this area. And then these red doors are going to give me a hint that, either here, somewhere over here, or up there, I've got to do something to be able to get into those ruins, right? Because I'm going to be able to remember kind of what's going on with the quest. Cool. So let me finish seeding this with our quest cards. We'll run over those right quick just to show you some things, because some of these quests, well, you know what, let's just do it now. So you may also have some quests that are, for example, this Tools of the Trade quest, which is a level 3 quest, all right, has 3 different items. So you've got like these tongs, this leather, this hammer. Like you have to get all 3 of these items, right? One of these quests is going to involve a chalice that's got 2 broken pieces, and you've got to find both of those pieces. So that's kind of the stuff that we'll do. But again, these are very straightforward, very simple. They literally tell you everything you need to do, what tokens to pull, where to put them, if the doors need colors, what colors they need to be. And then, like I said, I do this, right, mark with those skull tokens based on the quest table color, the areas that I'm going to go in, and then once we're done with the quest tables, we'll seed, but that gives me a visual of where I need to go. So for you, in just a second, you're going to see the completed setup. For me, it's going to take a minute. All right, I do want to pull this up while I'm doing this. So I've started on the second set, and I've already seeded some of the changers. You can see the yellow here. Let's see, let's get you a better shot of that. I've got those. Again, I personally use these yellow tokens, so I know that this is a level 2 quest table. So I've done that all throughout it. Now, this quest is a little bit different, okay? So this says, Captain would like to slay 4 level 2 champion monsters that reside within the chambers of the ancient ruins. He believes these monsters have a connection to what is transpiring in the village of Deadwood. The 4 level 2 champion monsters, so champion means you're going to be in the chambers, chambers that the heroes have to slay, must come from chambers that were populated from the seeding process. Place the monster tokens on this card as a reminder of how many monsters the heroes have slain so far. The important part about this is the seeding process that he's talking about is not this process. It's what happens after this process. So this is a quest card that actually we wouldn't have any specific chambers out on the board that we would need to complete this with. We just look for when we're fighting any non-quest chambers when we do the seeding process that have level 2 enemies in them. Okay, so that one is a little bit different. So I just wanted to call that one out. So we're going to continue setup, and you'll see the finished product in moments. All right, so I've completed that process. So you can kind of see here's an example. I've got these chambers populated. We've got I've got some yellow for the level 2s, green for the level 1s, red for the level 3 quest tables. All right, so now that's populated. So you'll see, for example, here, right, there's chambers that do not have anything. So what we're going to do is we're now going to go through the seeding process, and we're going to build those chambers out. Okay, and this is, again, outlined in the rule book. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our scenario book. Okay, and down here in the corner it says seeding. So we're going to take all the tokens that match this, and we're going to put them in, and we're going to basically use that to seed. Now, the important part to note is that these, like the mystery chamber tokens, these secret room tokens, we're going to add some crate tokens too, but these tokens are the master tokens. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to end up building bags for if we find a secret room or a mystery chamber that will draw, and crates that will draw out of a bag to find out what we actually have in there. But those actually refer to these tokens. So for example, here is the secret tokens. You can see it says secret on this side, and it says the exact same thing on that side. So we're going to build that up. So we've got 2 level 1s, according to this seating chart. We have 6 level 2s. Holy smokes. 3, 4, 5, 6 level 2s. Wow. 6 level 2s. We have 3 empty chambers. So that's these guys. And remember, these empty chambers, these are the ones that look like monsters. So we've got 3 of those. And actually, let me show this to you a little bit better way. All right, let's start this again. So again, everything that we pull is going to be based off of this part, the seeding process part. And you remember the quest that mentioned it had to be from the rooms that are seeded. So there's going to be 6 rooms that have minions or champions in them, and we're going to need 4 orcs, and that's going to come from all of these rooms. Okay. Cool. So, like I said, we needed 2 level 1s. So here's our 2 level 1s. We needed 6 level 2s. So here's our 6 level 2s. We needed 3 empty chambers. 3 empty chambers. 1 level 3. 1 level 4. It showed 2 mystery chambers, and again, these are what they call the master tokens. So 2 of those. And finally, 2 secret doors. Boom. So there's all of the tokens right there. Now, we're going to so this is going to be this is what we're going to be seeding with. All right, so we have all our tokens. We're also going to take these 7 crate tokens. What we're going to do is we're going to take all of these tokens, and we're going to take us a bag. I have a deep, big bag here that's easy to get to that I can shake them real well. I'm going to add all of these tokens that we just gathered into this bag. I'm going to give them a good shake. Give them a good mix. Okay. So there they are. They're all in there, good, mixed up. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to go back over here, and in any chamber that we have that's in the dungeon that does not have a quest associated with it, we're going to populate it. So let's go over. Let's go over to this far right side of the dungeon, and we're going to populate that. Give you an example. Okay, so you can see over here we have 2 dungeons, the Chapel of Light South, that doesn't have anything in it, so we're going to need to populate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach into our bag, and we're going to place 1 random token in. Now, if we draw, so we're going to take this. Okay, so mystery chamber, so that goes boop right there. We can draw another one. Now, there are some of these, right? These monster tokens. If you want to, try not to look at those, you can leave them face down. Or if you want more of a challenge, you leave them face down, or you can leave them face up. I'll leave them face up. That's just a preference. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other chambers up here. There's a level 2 monster. And then we're going to draw. So this is a crate token. So we're going to put that in there. Now, crate tokens, what's going to happen is if we draw a crate token, we're going to draw another token. If it's a crate token, we set it aside. We're going to draw something else. Okay, so mystery chamber. So you have to get something else that's not a crate token. So in this case, we have a mystery chamber. It goes in there. Okay. And we're literally going to keep doing that for all of the rest of the rooms that do not have anything. So we're going to go. So we did that. And again, just snake your way through till you find chambers that are like that. So we've got a secret room, and it's just one token per room. Unless you draw a crate, then you add another token, and it just can't be a crate. Okay, empty chamber. That's cool. And I always leave the empty chambers out so that I don't like double place something. And I'll go back at the end with these face up ones, and I'll just pull those off just to get those tokens off the board. All right, we got a level 2. We've got a level 1. Okay, and War Room West. Okay, another empty chamber. We've got a crate, and remember, when we draw a crate, we draw another. Hope it's not a crate, and it's not. There's a level 2 monster in there. Level 4. Yikes! Don't go in there, folks. All right, a secret room in here. Now, kind of this particular one is kind of confusing because it looks like all of these are numbered. Okay, so they all have like 16, 17, 18. Yeah. So this is actually, all of this is one big room. Okay, so there's a secret room there. And then a crate, okay. Okay, there's another crate. So we set that aside. We get a level 2 monster there. We get a level 2 monster there. We get a level 2 monster there. And I always go back and check, am I missing any rooms? Those are done. And I just check each quadrant is the way I do it. So there's usually 1, 2, or 3 rooms in each quadrant. So there's 3 there. There's only 1 there. We're good. Good. Good on that. Oh, see, I missed one right there. It's very easy to do. Empty chamber. All right. And Good here. Good here. Good here. Good here. Good here. Good there. Okay, cool. Now, we take out of the bag all the rest of the master crate tokens. All right. So any room that's a non-quest room that doesn't have a master crate token, we just start adding these until we run out of crate tokens. So I'm gonna pick. I guess I'll do it in the same order I started. So this one didn't have a crate token. This one didn't have a crate token. And you may even want to like mix it up. So like those didn't have one. I'm going to put one over here and put the other one over there. All right. Yeah. So when that's done, it says there shouldn't be any tokens left in the bag. I think I screwed up somewhere. So I ended up with an extra level 1. Where did I not put something that was supposed to have something? Oh, right here. Right there. Missed it. Cool. So that's the seeding process. So now all of the chambers have something in it, either a quest or a regular, just some random monsters to fight. And again, remember, like in this case, we need to fight, one of our quests was level 2. So we know we're going to be visiting these level 2 chambers right there, there. And then some of these quest chambers, especially the level 2, are going to have more monsters to fight. And so we'll be working on orcs for that. So we've completed that. Now, we're going to refer back at this point. We're going to refer back to our scenario book. And you remember we're going to pick a level, right? Easy, novice, or novice, easy, normal, hard, expert, master. And now we're going to move over to the UI boards, and we're going to start populating the UI boards based on that table. And again, that table, you can do that. You can just pick value, right? And you're going to say, this is what we're going to set it at. You have those tables where you could roll, right? So you could make it random if you wanted to. You could do that. But we're just going to we're going to pick easy. And that's what we're going to go with. So let's go to the UI boards, and get those populated. All right, so here's the UI board. So some of these tokens don't need to be on here yet, technically. And I just keep the quest cards. You might could lay them there if you wanted to. There's not a whole lot of room, so I just kind of set them off to the side somewhere. Oh, and I should mention, well, it'll come out here in a second. All right, cool. So again, we're going to refer to this, right, to our charts, and we're really going to just work through the Bazaar inventory, the terror level, all of these columns based on what difficulty we've chosen, and that is what we're going to set everything to. So with easy, we have 7 health potions. So I'm going to put those right there. We have 7 elixirs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elixirs. And all of these tokens, the nice thing about them is they have art on the front, and then they have what they do on the back. Okay, so if you can't remember what does the essence do versus the elixir, the back will tell you. We have Ultra Juice, 7 of those. So health is obviously health. Elixir gets rid of afflictions, which are these cards here. We haven't really talked about those, but this is another deck of cards that you can have like 2 levels of affliction. So they're all based on a warfare type, and you have 1 level, and then if you get it again before you get rid of it, it gets the 2nd level. And basically on all of them, the 2nd level is you can't roll the D6. Remember, you roll a D12 and a D6 in combat for whatever the warfare type is. You can't roll the D6. It's like if you had a broken bone and you're fighting something that was physical, you just roll the D12, but you wouldn't roll the D6 with it. So it makes it a lot harder to fight stuff. But, the priest has ways to get rid of that. You have these elixirs. So there are ways to get rid of that. So Ultra Juice is a 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Boom. And then torches. So torches, what these do is these are going to give you, if you have them in your inventory, an additional 2 movement to your base movement. But you will have to roll every round to see whether they go out or not. And in this case, there are 9. There's 9 of those. So 9 torches. So the Bazaar is good. Village terror level on easy, we set it to 3. So it starts just slightly elevated. So we set that to 3. The raid difficulty is a 12. Yikes. So the raid difficulty right there is a 12. Now again, you can always choose to mix and match this. So let's say that I was like, I don't know. You're on a D20, so it's 50-50 chance they go to raid. Maybe I don't want to deal with raiding minions just because I don't, or whatever. for whatever reason, I can always just choose to set it to a 20, right? So the important part is just to remember, like these, obviously, like if you pick an easy, novice, master, they're like tested and they're balanced. But if you want to make it a little bit harder or a little bit easier, definitely do whatever you want. I mean, Roger, in the spirit of the game, he just wants you to have fun and enjoy the world he's built. So you definitely have the freedom to do that. We're playing on easy, so that goes to a 12. The Guardian spawn track starts at a 19 on easy, so it's a little bit higher. On easy, we have 2, and there's not a place on here for that. Just know that we have a 2 for the Guardians, so once we get 2 Guardians out, we will not spawn any more Guardians, and once they're both killed, we flip that token over, right? And that will complete that. And then the minion population on easy is a 4. So we'll put that there. Cool. That's done. Now, the last thing that we need to do is we are going to populate the blacksmith. So you're going to take this big, massive deck of cards that you have, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to, again, consult the chart. And so each level, each tier, there's common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. And you can see the colors. This is going to be on each of the cards. I'll show you that in a second. But we're going to have that many that are going to go into each one of these slots. And that's what's going to be available from the blacksmith to buy. We can still find stuff in the dungeon, right? There's potential loot rolls that happen with treasure chests that we have when we kill minions, that we have when we kill guardians, champions, completing certain quests, the tavern task. Those are other ways to get them. But what we're guaranteed that we know that we can buy will be up there in the blacksmith shop. So in this case, again, we're just going to go through this. And we need, in this case, 14 commons, 12 uncommons, 10 rares, 8 epics, and 5 legendaries, okay? So what I do usually is I just shuffle everything up, and then I just start making stacks of the different types. And I just start making the stacks based on the number that I need. All right. So I grab the top, a few off the top, and I just start flipping them over. So I've got common, there's 1 white, 1 rare blue, 1 green. All right. And I literally just stack them, and I'm just, looking at the chart, making sure I don't go over it. And I'm going to do that until all of, wow, there's a lot of white ones right here again. Jeez. Oh, there's purple. So I get all of those stacks built. So I'm going to finish building the stacks in 3, 2, 1. All right, so here are all of our cards for our blacksmith. They're in stacks. So here's all of those. I do want to mention this. So again, this icon in the top right will match the color that's on the board up there. So we know these are the common. Green is uncommon, so it matches that color. But when you're working on setting these up, you do need to be aware of 2 things. Number 1, you're gonna have 2 other kind of types of cards in the deck. Okay. And these cards, if you do draw them, set them aside and shuffle them back in. But you may get some cards that are like this, that are junk loot. It says junk loot on the bottom. You'll set those aside. And you may get some cards that are like this, that are red right there. These are extremely high value cards. You notice they don't have any gold value, so you can't buy them. You could potentially find them. But these actually take life force to use. And they do, you can see like 6 damage. That's crazy. Plus 8 when you use it. But you minus your level, but that's still insane. But you see that skull right there? So when you use these are extremely powerful, these underworld items. but they potentially will kill you. So there's not many in the deck, but they are in there. And you do not, like, you can take them and you can use them, but do so at your own peril. All right. So once we've got all these done, we're going to put those into the blacksmith shop. Up here is the blacksmith shop. Remember, this is one of the dungeon UI boards, so we're going to take and put them face up. So this is the common. Then we have the uncommon. Then we have the rare. Then we have, Then we have the epic. And we have the legendary. And generally this is like tier 1 stuff, common, some tier 1, tier 2 stuff, tier 2, tier 3 kind of in the middle, and then mostly tier 3 there on the end. But these are all going to be available to purchase with gold that we find in the dungeon, either when we do Celebration Day or if we want to send. Remember Albus? This is an example. So let's say we put 1,000 gold on Albus and he's in the dungeon, running around with us over here. We can send him to town because we got some money, found some treasure chests, found whatever, put some money on him. That 1,000 gold, he could come out here and he could buy some of this stuff from the blacksmith, maybe some potions. They go on this card. Then he could run back into the dungeon and he could literally run to us and deliver those items, and we could equip those and get those potions. And you'll see that happen. So it's super, super handy because, like, especially when you complete quests, like you may need, if you're in real rough shape, to not die, maybe you need to go ahead and get that money to stay healed up or whatever. So that takes care of the loot. So then what you'll do, if you had any of those loot cards or those underworld item cards, you're going to shuffle those back into the deck. Very, very ridiculously, almost comically thick deck. And so when you're doing loot rolls and you do get loot, or you have a treasure card or some other card that tells you to draw a loot, you're going to draw from this deck right here. So we're going to set that over here to the side. Boom. So it is ready to be drawn from. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And that is it. So once that's completed, if we had the money, right? So depending on whether we just rolled for the money or however we got the money in the setup, if we played the Avalon Adventure board game, in this case, say that I did that and this is what I did. So I have some money. So I've got $900. I've got some items here that I got as part of that. I've got a potion. What I'm going to do is I can actually go out here and I can go to the village and I can spend this money and I can equip these items on our heroes and get that set up. Once that's done, then you're ready to actually start the playthrough. You're ready to start going through the dungeon. And so that is set up. I will mention one more thing. There is a deck of afflictions, like I said before. Again, these, you would just set them to the side of the board. I'll put them over here with some of the other cards, with my secret room cards and stuff like that. The UI board will tell you the health potions, elixirs, all that stuff, how much they cost. They're 100 gold torches. Well, basically, they're all 100 gold for all of these items. And then you can also buy the pickaxe, and the pickaxe cost is right here. It's 200. So these are available in town. You can purchase blessings. Blessings 200 gold. If you had afflictions, you can cure them all for 100. You can spend 100 gold to restore health to one hero. If you go to the temple, if you go to the tavern, it's 100 gold and it restores essence. So really, when you go back to town, which would happen like after you complete one of these quest tables, it would cost you 200 gold to fully recover a hero. Now, when you level up, right, you go from level 1 to level 2, your max is going to change. So, here we see Zeke. He's got an 8 health and a 12 essence, right? When he levels up, he has an 11 health and a 15 essence. But if he'd taken, let's say he had taken 3 damage, when he levels up to 11, the difference is, what is the difference? From 8 to 11 is 3, right? So this card, right, this card would replace this card. And then the slider, and I'll just use this as an example. Let's say that he had 8, he was at 5 health, right? Then the difference between 8 and 11 is 3. So we'll put this second card, slide it in here, and it's going to go up by 1, 2, 3. So he would have 8 health, right, listed instead of the full 11. But if I wanted to spend $100 at the temple, I could max that out to 11. And the same thing for his essence right down here. All right, so just keep that in mind. A lot of times, like other games, when you level up, it's like free healing or whatever, but not in this. Right. Is there anything else that I need to talk about yet that won't happen in the playthrough? I think that's it. I just set, again, I just kind of set all this stuff over to the side. Because it is a big deal. It is a big old game. Totally worth it, but it takes up a lot of space. So again, like I said, you have your heroes. I set the counterattack cards personally to the side because it's the same for all of them and they don't get channeled. So I really only need one of those. I put the weapons with each of them. And so this is an example of, since I did the Avalon Adventure board game, I have all of these items. Now, these are all these 2 are tier 1s, these are tier 2s. So I can assign these to anybody I want, okay? Your hero can only carry 2 weapons on them. I can assign these tier 2 to anybody that I want, but because they're all level 1, they can't be used. So your inventory is essentially infinite, except on Albus to carry stuff around. So I can assign these, like if I want my rogue, since this has got mythical, and that's kind of her thing, if I wanted to go ahead and take this blade and assign it to her, like I could do that, and I usually just flip them upside down. But I know that I can't use it, so I flip it upside down. The Footman's Sword, the Troll's Tooth, these are tier 1s. One's a weapon, one's an amulet. So I could go ahead and assign these to somebody. So maybe, maybe I assign the Troll's Tooth necklace to Maheliak, and I get a +2. So that's the other part of this, right? I'm looking at their stats and I'm going, okay, like I may be in a situation where I fight a monster and maybe because of my party composition, somebody's going to have to use physical, and maybe everybody, like for example, the priest, the rogue, and the wizard, if they were all together, like they all have horrible physical scores. So maybe I say, okay, like Zeke's got this Troll's Tooth. That's a horrible example. Let's put him with the Maheliak. Maheliak's going to be really good at chaos and physical, right? Because he's going to get a +1. So he gets a +4 in chaos now and a +3 in physical. But maybe to offset the absolutely -3 that's horrendous on our mage, maybe I give him the longsword. So now he's got two items. They're both tier 1, so he can use them. It'll just make, if he has to do a physical warfare type roll, it'll make it a little bit less bad because now it's not a -3. It's actually a -1, which is the -3 plus the 2. And then these, I can just kind of like in the future think about that. Maybe the ranger, he's kind of the same way, right? He's got a really crappy arcane score, so maybe I decide I'm going to give this to him in preparation for when he gets level 2. make his range even better and help make his arcane not so bad. And maybe, at least for now, for the armor, I could either give it to, potentially to my knight because he got a -2 in the mythical, or maybe, again, maybe I want to boost, right? Because that's what you got to do. So maybe I give that to my rogue instead. And that's like part of this whole thing, right? As you're running around here, like all of the monsters, all the minions, the champions, the guardians, they have all a mix of the warfare types. So like it's party composition. Like you're not running solo. You got 2 or 3 heroes that you kind of put together and they kind of move around as a squad. Is the way that I've seen it played mostly, and the way that I play it. Because just one guy, one hero is not going to be able generally, especially in chambers or guardians, double especially, be able to fight them on their own. So that's the setup. And let me just show you this final piece that I sort of mentioned, but I kind of skipped. So you're going to have crate tokens, right? Remember we put the crate tokens out. So there are some crate tokens that are items. You're going to get a bag or a cup, put those in there. So they'll have their own bag or cup. Your secret rooms. So there are some tokens for secret rooms. So when you get next to one of these locations, you draw a random one of these out. So there's two numbers there. One is a wisdom check, and one of them is the number of times you can attempt to see if you actually discover the secret room. And then once you discover the secret room, there is another set of tokens. And I'll be honest, I wish that I think one of the cool things that would be that you could do is if somebody had some custom embroidered bags, small bags for all this stuff. So it would be easier to label. I just have these generic bags. Oh, that's not them. I guess you could get cups and do the same thing. But you have these lock tokens. So if you successfully discover the secret room, then you've got this lock picking action that you can take, and you're trying to use a D6 and get those numbers. And then if you're successful, right, then you flip this over and it shows that it's unlocked, right? So that chamber's good to go. If, let's say that you were not successful, right, with the secret room, and let's say that you failed, okay, and you were not able to, in this example, it's 3 and the 13, right? Say that you rolled 3 times, you never got your 13, then you flip this token over, right? And it actually replaces this master token, and it goes on there and it says locked, okay? So that means this is locked out, you can't get in there, and that's going to be for the rest of the game, not just that particular quest table, but for the entire rest of the game, okay? So, cool. I think that's it. That is a long video for a lot of setup. Like I said, this game is very much, you got to dedicate, right? You got to dedicate yourself to it. But I'm telling you, it is completely worth it. It's one you're going to leave out on your table for a minute. But yeah, it is definitely worth it. Cool. I think that is everything we need to cover. So, like I said, this is going to be part of a full playthrough. I'm just trying to put these tokens up as I talk that I'm not using. We're going to do a full playthrough of this using all of the new rules. I'm going to show you the classic rules. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be long. The last time I did this, I did the solo version. I think it was 50 episodes or something. Because I do a lot of talking. I'm not very good at just jumping in and doing it. And I want to teach you the game in this case and show you the stuff that is out here. But yeah, I mean, it's long. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that I just can stress. I've seen some people claim that they could do it in, 3 or 4 hours. I don't know how you play and you literally complete all 3 of those quest tables in that amount of time. I just honestly don't think it's possible, unless you have some skill that is beyond human to be able to process all the stuff you need to process. But like I said, it's worth it. It's one of those you put out on the table and play for a while, and then you put up, and maybe a couple times a year you pull it out. Is what's been my experience. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. Check out the Kickstarter if it's still going on. Maybe watching this well after that. But this is Dungeon Crusade by Grievous Games. Roger Deering did an awesome job, so go check him out. And hey, if you ever want to play this, hit me up in the comments, email me. You got that down below this video, and we will see what we can do. If I can meet you at a con, or we can set up Skype or whatever, I will do it to give you a chance to play this and experience it, especially if you have a copy and you want to play with somebody else. So, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'm Justin, the Board Game Roamer. You guys stay awesome, play some games, and I will see you, my friends, in the next video, which will be the beginning of our playthrough. Bye, guys.